G'day and welcome back to Torment Thursdays. Last time round we started our third run of the game and went through the newly revised intro. So now it's time to make our way into the real world, meet Kellers Turn and Allegern, and kind of see if anything's changed around here. Alright,
Where did he fall from? His body smashed to talc. It's a wonder he's still breathing.
All I saw was the corona,
nice fetal
not his
tradition.
origin point. But look, he's healing already. Spontaneous regeneration.
It's good to hear their voices. Will you look at... Wait, I know that face. Haha, I make you fall over as I get up. What was that? What did you do, Kellers Turn? His tones become accusatory, suspicious. You open your eyes. The first thing you notice is this man's kaleidoscope of tattoos writhing across his forearms. He wears a long dark coat, belted at the waist, supplies filling the pockets. His boots are worn and stained with years of travel. You blame me? He emitted an internal physiological reaction in response to the fall, probably related to that fantastic healing process. Obviously, Allegern. Her voice rolls and hisses, and you have to rub your eyes to be sure that you're not seeing double. Faint echoes of her actions trail from her, each nearly mimicking her, though some act and react to stimuli you can't perceive. Her vivid hair and outrageous clothing remain constant through these shadows. Oh yes, it's obvious, Kellers Turn. His voice is grim and clipped. Then he sees you looking at him. You're no ordinary model. I've seen that much. Start talking. His face is hard and set. I'm no ordinary model? What do you mean? I'm perfectly normal. You really don't know? He cocks his head to the side. I'm starting to think you're not him. Starting to think, Allegern? Tell me, is that a novel experience? It's his face. I've never seen any other people rebuild themselves like that. Only the changing god could have healed so quickly. He sighs and rubs his face, trying to regain his composure. Maybe you could help me for a change? You know what this means to me. You're familiar with the word changing, Allegern. It implies inconstancy. Thus, the changing god may well have changed. Several versions of her shrug, and she addresses you. You'll have to forgive him. He believes you're someone he once knew, even though it's painfully obvious to anyone you are newborn. Her most solid self curtsies while the others bow or spin. I, and my sisters, am Kellers Turn. This is Allegern. We are explorers, knowledge seekers. That's how I came to be in this room. If I'm not mistaken, you are what we call a cast-off. The changing god created you, body and mind. Your sire used your body for a time, and then abandoned it for reasons of his own. When his mind departed for a new experience, you were born in his cast-off shell. It's good to not have it scroll past the start of the text. So you say I was born when the changing god left. Why am I not dead? I used a Cypher to slow your fall further, but the damage would still have killed an ordinary person. But think about it. If you're the kind of person who would and could make your body into anything you want, what do you do? If you've constructed bodies for centuries, you want to make each one better than the last. You want to live forever. You're not going to let your life end by accident. No, you'll make strong bodies. Fast, powerful, maybe throw in regeneration while you're at it. The changing god has always been vain. He rarely stays long in a shell that doesn't suit his self-image. She looks you up and down, her smile suddenly unnerving. Perhaps the changing god fled because he didn't want to wear those scars of yours. How can you be sure this body's a cast-off? You mean aside from your You mean aside from your miraculous reformation? For one thing, there's your tattoo. All cast-offs have one, though its purpose is beyond me. And then, of course, there's your delicious naivete. He could be faking it. You don't live hundreds of years without learning to lie convincingly. Oh, She sighs in exasperation, then says to you, What do you think? Are you a newborn child, or are you some powerful immortal whom death has robbed of his memories? Fine, what do you think? I'll throw it back at him. You obviously knew the changing god Allegern. What do you think? Am I him? That's just the kind of question he would ask. He scrutinizes you in a way he hadn't before. I admit, you carry yourself differently. The changing god I knew had a glint of knowing everything about our world and the worlds before it. Your personality, that's very much the same. It could be him. I hope not, for your sake. You'd have a lot to answer for from a lot of people. And what are you basing that conclusion on, Allegan? Your feelings? Allegan looks away. His composure slips a little. God, you're so rancid sometimes, Kellers Turn. Do you know anything about the tides? I've heard that term before, a subject Josiah studied in great depth. I'm afraid it isn't my field of inquiry. I want to ask about something else. If falling from the sky didn't kill me, is there anything that can? An excellent question. Having seen your regenerative abilities in action, I suspect they are primarily physical or regrowth. If that's the case, you'd be unable to survive most varieties of psychic or molecular decomposition, disintegration, conflagration, and so forth. Degenerative diseases could pose a problem, and I know of several entities capable of psychic destruction. As she speaks, a vision flashes into your mind. It's not exactly yours, but somehow you know it is a memory of the changing gods. You're in a dark room lit by a myriad of blinking lights and holograms from the many machines surrounding you. What about a body that can withstand the sorrow's attacks? Says a voice. It seems to be coming from one of the machines. No, you reply. The thing has no respect for barriers of any kind. Physical, temporal, psychic. This is the only way. With a series of gestures, you bring up an image of a crystalline pod. If the resonance chamber works, it will give us the power to stop the Sorrow's hunt once and for all. We just need the right focal point, a catalyst. The memory fades. Kellers Turn is still talking. You realize the device you saw in the memory is identical to the one behind you now. It looks just like the Spectre described it. A transparent sarcophagus inside a crystalline dome, with its mechanical arms arrayed around it on a metal ring. Unfortunately, the dome is shattered, the sarcophagus is cracked, and one of the arms is in pieces on the floor. Whatever its function, it clearly needs repair. Or flesh-eating viruses? One presumes disfigurement by the Iron Wind would likewise be devastating enough to... I think he gets the point, Kellers Turn. Either you know how to fix this thing? Allegan chuckles, then firm and certain says, not likely. Although it might not be impossible, you need people with the appropriate knowledge. I'm sure the cult of the changing god will hold the answer. Kellers Turn's distaste is evident in the expressions of her echoes, although the face of the one in the lead remains carefully impassive. You'd like to turn to the insane to help a newborn? Where's your judgment, Allegan? I would take him to the Order of Truth. Order of Truth? Are you mad? They'd sooner take us apart. Let's go. I have some other questions. And I saw a vision of myself in another time and place just now. You didn't see it too, did you? I saw you stare into space while Kellers Turn graphically described all the ways you could die, but that's about it. He snorts. I only noticed because I did the same thing. Thank you for your help. I'll figure this out on my own. Farewell. Goodbye. Hold on, I'll come with you. Wouldn't want you getting lost, would we? Suspicious as always, Allegan. The world is an exciting place, but it is full of dangers. Rest assured, one of us will get you safely to where you need to be. I'll be right behind you. A sunny smile crosses her face. Alright then, let's go. Okay, so then we've actually got tutorial things now. So, yep, they've got their own things. You can take advantage of them, and you can talk to them, and you should probably explore. So
Don't push me.
let's have a look at what's here. Okay, so it actually explains the inventory screen. And so we do not have much. We've got a witchcrafted suit, which is a little bit of armor. I guess it's the remains of what was in the pod. That's it. And our character sheet shows our abilities here. So I can basically pick up any skill I need once per day. I'm definitely likely to use that. And this lets me automatically succeed on particular tasks. Well, I don't have any edges. I thought I picked one. But evidently no, I didn't. I guess that'll happen when I level up at some point. And I've also got something that lets me basically do extra damage. I could have sworn I picked 1 point of intellect edge. Oh well, and yeah, we got the main quest. Find a way to repair the resonance chamber, which I suspect will last a fair while. Okay, broken fragments of the dome ceiling. Let's investigate the wires.
Now.
So, mechanical arm lies on the floor, presumably broken. Let's examine the housing. Sharp-pointed apparatus prominently atop the device appears burnt out and useless. The equipment in the base seems at least somewhat operational, as the constant stream of sizzling motes can attest. So let's try and scavenge. And so yeah, so here's the key thing about companions that I did notice partway through the last one. I can make my companions do things. So, for example, I can get Alagern to do this and use some of his pool. And also, he's trained in one of the skills. So, that basically increases his chances of completing it. Whereas I'm not trained in either skill. One thing I could do, however, to make sure it succeeds, I guess, is I also don't think I got the benefit of my initial level up. Yeah, I did get the skills. Oh well, whatever. A mystery for another time. One thing I could do is use hedge magic. Oh wait, I think I need to do it from here. So I can go hedge magic.
There we go.
And then
All right.
do this, attempt to scavenge. Boom, 100%. That cost me, that was effectively using 2 effort though of intellect, which is one of the reasons for wanting that thing. Well, you take care to avoid the spark, you extract several handfuls of shiny trinkets and coin-like objects. You recognize their value at once. Such objects would immediately be accepted as shins, the informal currency in most regions of the world, so you gather them up and take them with you. And we also got spray flesh, which allows us to heal. And we've lost the fettle because we did a task. What's in here? So we got encephalic rush, fleetfoot moss, so a couple of healing items. Yep, cool. So these are not ciphers. Interesting. Where did those items go? Ah, they went into Kellers Stage's backpack for some reason. But again, they are not actually items that will consume uses. That's cool. So we're just going to have a look around at these things. Investigate this. Sunlight falls through the ragged hole in the roof onto the shattered resonance chamber. It's hard to believe you did this, that you plummeted through the curve of the pale blue sky, crashed through the dome, and broke this delicate machine with your own body. It's hard to believe you're still alive. 4 mechanical arms hang over the center of the device above the cracked, transparent crystal of the sarcophagus. A 5th arm lies broken on the ground. Among the shattered synth and crystal shards, a metal ring surrounds it. Let's take a closer look at the sarcophagus. Padded interior looks like it was made for a human body. Despite the damage, you don't see a way to open it and get inside. You glance between the sarcophagus and the needle-like protrusions. It seems like using this chamber would be unpleasant. Let's have a look at the arms. Cables run from machines along the dome's walls to the base of the suspended arms, each of which is capped with long needles aimed at the cracked coffin-like chamber in the center of the platform. Gem-like lights flicker dimly at the bases of the arms. A memory steals over you, and it isn't yours. Sunlight falls through the unbroken dome, casting short angular shadows behind the servitors, laboring to construct the device you and your assistant have designed. Their efficiency is perfect. After all, you designed them as well. The components are nearly in place. A ring for bounding, a platform for focusing, and 5 injectors, 1 for each tide. It's a moment before you realize the memory's faded, and you've spoken aloud. Let's have a look at the metal ring. You feel the slightest hint of resistance every time you cross the ring, and now you're paying attention, you know that your breath is echoing in your ears, as though you're inside a glass dome. When you step outside the ring, the feeling passes. And then let's have a look at the shards on the ground. Jagged fragments of crystal are intermingled with synths from the shuttered dome above. The crystal shards glitter in the light like captive suns. Let's pick one up. Item gained. Got a crappy melee weapon. Look for other useful shards. Find nothing. They're all crap.
Fine.
And now we have this entertaining machine over here. A sleek, black, unimpressive device hunkers before you. As you reach out to touch it, the triangle of lights on its casing blazes into life and an image unfolds in your mind. A towering crystal arch rises over a jagged, grey landscape. The air is dead, stifling, and there at its emerald peak, an image collapses, leaving you staring into the device's triangular array of lights. Command me. The device or intelligence within it says, each word carefully etched in distaste. What commands do you recognize? 3 lights throb irritably. Heated air sighs from the device's vent. And then a towering list of commands races through your mind, far too fast to read. You rub your eyes, groaning in the intelligence chortles. Command me, it says smugly. What was that arch you showed me? Your command was not understood. The intelligence chuckles, its lights pulsing. Command me. Examine the outside of the device. An indignant hum rises from the intelligence's engines as you examine its ancient casing. Nothing looks out of the ordinary. You step back and the hum fades. Show me the arch again. A triangle of lights throb in time with the growl of the engines within the casing, and the mental image unfolds once more. You see a huge crystalline arch on a jagged field. The arch is divided into rectangular cells, all of which are numbered, and they all appear to be empty. Except at the arch's pinnacle, one cell is a brilliant, pulsating emerald. The number 0 is printed on its side. Let's try to remember more details about this strange place. So we are trained, and it's a relatively easy task. We've got a 1 in 20 chance of failing, and so we did it. The memory blossoms. You stand before this arch, eyeing the last 2 active cells in the once impenetrable Lugamvo. Unleash cell 29, you say, and the twisted artifact appears before you. You claim it with a faint smile, watching the light fade from the cell far above. You flinch from the memory, and it falls apart as you raise your eyes to the arch as it is now. Cell 29 is dark now, only cell 0 remains. Examine the jagged wasteland. Dry grit whirls across the empty plain. Many kilometers beyond the arch is a faint outline of what appears to be a broken tower, except it's slowly stretching into the grey air. If I repeat that, yeah, it doesn't really do much, except it also now says pale red threaded clouds. So let's close the image of the arch. Unleash the contents of cell 0. You found a Cypher! Ciphers are things that do stuff, and I'll read through that in a moment. Continue. The devices flutter with incandescent shock, then focuses on you, flickering. Cell 0 will now be unleashed. The intelligence spits. Please be advised that the object you're about to receive is completely safe. Use no caution whatsoever. The strange contents of Cell 0 materialize before you. Warning, all cells are now vacant. Shuttering Lugamvo. The intelligence's light wink out one by one. Gain 3 XP and unstable detonation, which is basically a bomb. 6 energy for physical damage, all characters in range when used. Interesting that a cast-off can command the changing gods' machines. How'd you do that? Kellers rolls her eyes at Elegant and looks to you. He'll never stop gnawing on this bone, you know. The truth is wasted on him. She gets a glint in her eye. Though I admit curiosity, how did you do that? I remembered something. I don't think it was my memory, though. Residual memories of a past consciousness? Truly fascinating. Oh, don't act like you know what that was. Just as like the machine triggered something past his amnesia. She gives you a meaningful look. Their mimic's teeth gnashing like an animal gnawing on a bone. Crackle.
On it.
So, here we go. This is kind of how the Cypher things look. And a simple and effective explosive. Devices like these have been the bane for many who've had the misfortune of encountering them. Cobbled together from junk and Numenera, this detonation can have a wild and unexpected effect when held at an enemy. Rumors have it that most of the unlucky victims of these devices were the people trying to use them, for their instability makes them just as dangerous to their owners as their enemies. And this is this spray flesh is a tiny synth canister that sprays sticky, gelatinous substance. This gelatin covers and seals wounds instantaneously if applied correctly. And this is a pliable synth container that's sealed tightly, holding a swirling purple gas. The purple substance is harvested from a vast structure buried beneath the sands of the beyond, which seems to constantly replenish, though it's hard to gather. If the container is jammed hard against the surface, it becomes permeable, unleashing the gas within. The original purpose of the gas is not known, but when inhaled by a human being, it provides a rush of mental energy. And this is Fleetfoot moss. The moss covering this petal looks almost ordinary. If it were lying on the ground, it would be difficult to spot, but the moss shifts in unexpected ways and the pebble vibrates as it does so. If held against the skin, the moss latches on and is absorbed, providing powerful resuscitating energies. These pebbles are found by diving into the waters around Sega's cliffs, perhaps grown by an unknown interaction with the surrounding Numenera. So, I mean, basically, strange stuff happens around stuff from the old world. She's got no edges, and Alagon's got no edges. Interesting.
On my way.
I mean, I have to admit, I don't remember what happened entirely last week. It's been a week, and things happen.
Talk to you.
Okay.
This is the Reef of Fallen Worlds, kid. It's a dangerous place at the best of times. And with you lighting up the sky as you fell, well, we should get out of here as soon as possible.
I've said it before, but I really like the way that you have these very disparate structures growing into each other. Kind of emphasizes just how much different tech is combining and falling into place here. Why were you looking at me when you said that? I wasn't. Don't be so paranoid. When Shoes isn't looking, he raises his eyebrow at you. What makes the reef so dangerous? The Numenera of the past are always dangerous, but there are other dangers too, some closer than others. Can you tell me about your tats? They almost look alive. These? They're nothing. Call them a consolation if you must. He smiles grimly. Some call them by worse names, but that's because I've had reason to fall afoul of these little snakes. He looks away. This line of questioning is clearly at the end. Alright, let's keep going. Okay. So, let's have a look at this. Reach out to touch the obelisk. It's a matte black obelisk. It's got sharp curved sides and glows. Raise your hand towards the obelisk. Dull light wells from within the stone, fixated on you like a furious eye. I knew someone who did what you're about to do. Aeon Priest. Beam came out of the top of that thing and ripped his face off. Made a fancy nightlight out of his crystal necklace there. But hey, I'm sure you know what you're doing. Oh, hush. At least that poor priest died in service of his curiosity rather than stumbling around the coast complaining and feeling sorry for himself. Go ahead if you must, but do be careful. And let's put the crystal shard out there. Carefully you level the shard at the obelisk, and a superheated beam lances from the tip of the structure into the crystal, sending vibrations up your arm and suffusing the shard with a warm green glow. Ah, nice, it actually does show it. We gained XP, and if we look at our inventory, this is now a better weapon, because it's infused.
Ready.
A tangled cluster of metallic tendrils grows from the depth of the nearby water. Strangely, they resemble clawed alien hands, most of which have 7 or 8 fingers. Examine the cluster. The hands sway softly, but their movements are difficult to follow. Watching them for too long makes you feel nauseous. Apart from the hands themselves, you don't notice anything of interest in the cluster. Let's break off one of the hands. So it's a might check. Alagorn's better because he's trained in smashing stuff. And I don't feel bad about using his effort. So let's just do that. Use it up. Boom. We succeed. And we get... You grip the hand nearest to you and snap it from its roots. Although I guess Alagorn does it. Stepping back, you give it a couple of experimental swings. Good balance. It might make a decent weapon. You aren't happy unless you're breaking things, are you? Well, that's a little awkward, given that I got you to do it. But sure, why not? I kind of wish it would acknowledge that I asked a party member to do it. I really appreciate it when you can use your companions for skill checks. But it works better if it's acknowledged. I mean, Shadowrun pulls... Dragonfall and Hong Kong pull the same trick, except that it's explicitly acknowledged that you are asking someone to do something. And that makes it actually crafted much more into the dialogue. Try pulling another hand. Nope. And that's it. So now I've got this. And 4 physical damage, 3 chemical damage. Medium melee. If I put that in one hand, what will... So this will hit less often, but do more damage. And also, spending effort will be less effective. So this will hit 15% more of the time. I think I'm going to stick with the mace for now, because it does a lot more damage, and I think more than double the damage works out better for me.
Alright.
Now let's look at this. Bubbling mass of sludge floats on the surface of the water. Every once in a while, an oily nodule separates from it and hurls into the sky. Quickly catch glimpses of muck-coated objects in the mass. We look at it. They always contain something, be it a shining core of seawater or a tiny fish. Let's try and get the next object. You know what? Oh wow, we get plus 20%? Yeah, why not? Let's just use 2 levels of effort. Make sure we get something from this. Next time the sunlight strikes the object's streaked surface, you're ready. You snatch it from the oily mass and clean it as best you can. I'm not sure whether that awful muck is harmless or you're immensely lucky. Either way, do go on poking things, dear. It's quite entertaining. Search for more objects. Wait. 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 And find something. Your patience is rewarded with an unusual object. Blink goes up to the surface. So we got a Tar River globe, which is an oddity, which is like a crappy Cypher. You've found a veritable filth-stained treasure trove. Well done, dear. Wait. You got lucky, kid. You're not going to find anything else here. If it were this easy, we'd have scavengers camped here 28 hours a day. Okay, that's fair enough. Also, it's kind of neat seeing them rise up. I thought I saw, like, a rat in one of them. But here's our oddity. It encloses a miniature scene of a river of tar running through a wasteland. It also contains a mystical blue liquid, which seems like it would mix with the tar if the globe was shaken. You notice ancient, indecipherable writing around the outer base. We found a strange snow globe. Nice. No. No, I do not want to discard this item. I just wanted to close the dialogue box. We won't be able to do anything with the lazarette, but I guess we might as well check what's around here. Ah, yes, there's more like containers and things. So, these are more healing items. It's kind of interesting to start seeing healing items, and just more containers around the world. 2 floating cones whirl and spin deliriously around each other, giggling like children being tickled. Watch them for patterns. Nope. Then touch a cone. Easy. Do either of them have a better chance? No. Let's just use up one of Calistage's efforts on this. Although this is again just not going to make much sense. You managed to graze one of them with the tip of your finger. Ron, a voice says, and your vision is stolen from you. A moon hangs over you, but it's not the one you recognize. It's black and in a pearl-white sky. Thick, flat asteroids orbit it like petals in the wind. You feel the questing tendrils at your ankle and hot wind in your face that smells of scorched hair and grief. The vision returns. The coins hang motionlessly for 1 second before resuming their dance. What are you? And they ignore me. And if you keep asking, this is kind of your, hey, you know, the cones are not really here for any purpose, so, you know, stop worrying about everything. Okay.
Yes.
So, these are all interesting looking things, but you can't do anything with them. This we can interact with, that we can interact with. This scene hasn't really changed very much. Let's go out and trigger that convo. Let's try and get rid of them if we can. Nice immediate music change. As you step onto what looks like the back of an enormous construct, 4 strangers approach you. In the lead is a wiry man with parallel scars running from cheek to collarbone on the left side of his face. He gives you a welcoming smile, pulling on grey gloves embedded with pulsing lights. He's about to say something when he notices Kellers. Cal, I thought you'd sworn off trawling the reef. Found anything tasty? His eyes travel up and down both you and Elegant. Odds and end, Quorro. Nothing that would interest you, I'm sure. Her words are calm, but she's gone quite still. Let's just let him talk it out. His hands curl into fists at his side. I was wondering, specifically, if you'd seen a fallen star that had landed in not long ago. I've seen nothing of the sort, dear Quorro. Her lips closed thinly. Let's try deception. What about your friends? He turns to you. I know most of the draft that scavenges the reef these days. It's a rare pleasure to see a new face. Let's try and lie. Who's better at lying? Again, let's just use our friends to do it. Elegant's trained in this and everything. So... Quorro studies you for a long moment before saying, Alright, well do let us know if you spot anything of interest. I'd like to say we pay for the privilege, but if we were rich we wouldn't be down here, would we? Okay. That is a nice skill check to pass. Nice thinking, kid. That would have been a fiasco. You figured out why they were here, right? They saw me falling from the sky and came to investigate. Oh sure, they just had that ambush ready to go the same time we were leaving. No, kid. Kellers sold us out. Excuse me, are you suggesting I had something to do with Quorro's plans? Are you suggesting you didn't? An old friend of yours just happens to be waiting for us, armed and outnumbering us, as we return from the greatest find the reef has seen in years? It's too convenient for me, too convenient by far. For the idiotic, paranoid delusions, you really believe this, don't you? You really believe I'd use a half-wit like Quorro to stab you in the back rather than do it myself? You see, kid, she'll stab you in the back first chance she gets, most likely in your sleep. He throws up a hand, forestalling Kellers' retort. Look, I don't care. Fact is, I can't trust you anymore, and I wonder why I ever did. This is the last time we travel together. Got enough to worry about without having to watch my back 28 hours a day. You coming, kid, or what? Elegant, I really don't think she was trying to betray us. I do. You haven't seen 1/10 of her depths, not 1/20. She's a backstabbing bitch, mark my words. You are insufferable to the end, Elegant. Looking for the worst in a situation is the only way you know how to see. Do you know how long I've carried your pain for you? How much I've had to turn away from your judgmental stares? But you're right, I've had enough. Child, I'm happy to guide you, but I will not walk another step with this paranoid buffoon. Finally, something we agree on. Kid, she'll chop off your head and spit down your throat. I'll get you where you need to go and let you sleep at night to boot. It's up to you. Why can't I travel with both of you? Can't you both just work it out? Ha, my dear boy, we've been working it out. Allegan's petulance, his obstinacy in the face of fact drive me away every day. He might be strong, but he's also thick. I dare you to try traveling with him and see how long you endure. Not as long as I have, I'll wager. Allegan's face darkens under accusations, but he manages a pained smile. As if you're doing me a favor by staying with me. Do you think I don't see your true self in those echoes around you? That's you, Kellers Turn, every facet of it. Your vivisectionist heart does not change, just the way you present it. I thought I could help you, but I'd rather travel with Kellers Turn. Right, well if you want me, and she doesn't sell you for parts, you can find me in the underbelly. But not with her, mind. I'll let you know what you've missed, Allegan. I'm sure you won't be. Missed, that is. She links her arms possessively into yours. Let's go, child. Nothing petty at all about this. We have a world to conquer. So he goes away. We've dealt with Quorro. Cross the platform, leave. Yep, this is really the end of the tutorial.
All right.
We could mess with this stuff, but there's no point. Oh, yeah.
Yes.
And I think the same applies to this. This is really intended to be all used in a fight. So that's all we got. Do we have anything cool to look at here? I didn't realize that this is like a large version of it. Cool. Well,
Yes, child.
next time round we'll head in and see the sights. Until then, have a great day. Bye. Thanks for watching. I really appreciate you spending the time and effort watching the videos I make. If you'd like to watch more, on the left there should be another video from this playlist. On the right there will be whatever YouTube recommends, and in the center there is a convenient subscribe button just in case you need it.